Hey guys, so just a quick disclaimer. I'm so sorry, but I was out of frame so many times in this video. I'm still working on the camera angles, but I put in the specific stitches and instructions, so I hope it's clear enough. And I'm sorry if it's not. I'll make sure to get everything in frame next time. Thanks so much for watching, and yeah, I hope you liked the tutorial. Hello and welcome to part 2 of my holiday plushies tutorial. In part 1 we made this chick with a Christmas tree hat, and in part 2 we're going to be making a penguin with a Santa hat. And for this tutorial you're going to need some chenille yarn. I like to use the Premier Parfait chunky yarn. It's a super bulky yarn, size 6. And I am going to be using 2 different shades of blue. You can use black and gray, dark purple, lavender, dark pink, light pink, just 2 contrasting colors that are complementary. And then I'm also going to be using white. And for the feet and the beak, you can either use a mustard yellow or just a regular yellow. I'm going to be using a regular yellow, and you can decide depending on what you think pairs better. You're also going to need tapestry needle, some stitch markers would be really helpful, and some polyfill fiber as well. So without further ado, let's get started. Additionally, for the Santa hat, you're going to be needing red yarn as well. So to start off the penguin, we are going to use a dark blue color for the top of the head. Now this is my little example right here, and we are going to be using our number 8 hook or 5mm hook. We're going to be using continuous rounds, so I do recommend having a stitch marker handy. To begin, we're going to start with a slip knot. I prefer slip knots when using chenille yarn because it just makes everything a lot cleaner, and I think a magic ring just leads to a lot of loose ends. And we're going to do 2 chains, 1, 2, and then in the first chain we are going to do 8 single crochets. But first I'll put my stitch marker so I know where I started, and do 8 single crochets all around. After we've done 8 single crochets, transfer the stitch marker, and then we're going to do an increase in every stitch in round 2, and we're going to be ending up with 16 single crochets. Now in row 3, we're going to do 1 single crochet, increase, and alternate. So do 1 single crochet, and then 1 single crochet increase all the way around for a total of 24 single crochets at the end of the row. And that is the end of row 3. For row 4, we are going to do a single crochet all the way around. That's the end of row 4. Now, starting from row 5, we are going to be incorporating the white yarn to make the face. And I'm going to be using a little bit of like special techniques to make sure that the color changes between the white and the blue is as clean as possible. So I'll try to go as slow as possible so it's clear, but I highly recommend using the color change methods that I use so that it looks a lot cleaner. So for row 5, we're going to be starting with 8 single crochets in the dark blue. But before you finish the 8th single crochet, we're going to switch to the white yarn. So loop this white yarn. And now we're going to do 3 single crochets in white, and before you finish the 3rd, you're going to switch back to blue. So you did 1, 2, this is the 3rd, switch back to the blue. And you don't have to cut it off, you can just kind of bring the same blue yarn here. Make sure you don't pull too tight, because when we stuff it, we don't want the yarn inside to restrict the amount we can stuff. Now we're going to do 2 single crochets with the blue, and again before finishing the 2nd, we switch back to the white yarn. And every time we switch, I like to put the new color underneath the previous color, if that makes sense. And then do 3 single crochets in white. And we're going to switch one more time into the blue and do 8 single crochets until the end. And that is the end of row 5. So here you can either cut the white yarn or you can keep it. It's really up to you. I think it might be better to cut it so that it's like cleaner. Okay, for the next row, we are going to start with our blue yarn, and there's gonna be a little bit of a complicated color change here, so just be careful. But essentially we are going to do 8. Okay, we're gonna do 6 normal single crochets with the blue yarn. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And in the 7th single crochet, what you're going to do is you're going to use the blue to pull a loop. But instead of using blue to finish, you're going to change to white. You're going to have the white yarn on the loop. But instead of continuing with the white, we're going to go back to the blue to do the next stitch. So insert your hook, loop around with the blue. So you have a blue loop and a white loop. And here, you're going to go to the white and finish that stitch. So for this stitch, this was the 8th single crochet. You're going to have a white stitch on top, but the V stitch itself is blue. And you're going to see later why we did that. And now we're going to continue and make 3 single crochets with the white. 1, 2, 3. And here we actually complete the stitch with the white color. And here's another a bit more difficult color change. But what you're going to do is you're going to take the blue yarn, and we are going to insert our hook into the stitch, use the blue yarn to pull up a loop, but we're going to use the white yarn to finish the stitch, like this. So once again, the bottom part of the stitch is blue, but the top is white. And we're going to do that one more time. So insert your hook, pull up a blue loop, and go back to the white yarn and finish the stitch. So this will keep it really clean, and later when we put the mouth, it'll look just way better. And we're going to continue by doing 4 single crochets with the white yarn, and before finishing the fourth stitch, we're going to switch to blue. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, switch to blue to finish the stitch. And again, keep the blue loose so that it's not too tight on the inside. We're going to complete this row by doing 7 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that is the end of row 6. Again, we can cut off the white yarn. And I'd say row 7 is probably the trickiest row of this pattern. And we are going to be using dark blue, light blue, and white. So just prepare your light blue yarn. We're going to be using light blue just for the wings in this row, so we're going to be doing a lot of color changes. To start off, we are going to do an increase with the dark blue. So a single crochet increase in the first stitch. And then we are going to do 5 single crochets. But before we do finish the 5th, we're going to switch to light blue. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 before we finish the stitch. Finish it off with the light blue. So wrap around the hook and pull through with it. And here you can also cut off the blue yarn. Dark blue yarn, I mean. And if you watch the chick tutorial, you'll understand what I mean. But you're gonna need a few stitch markers for this part. And these stitch markers will be super helpful for the next row. What you're going to do is you're going to put the stitch markers in the back loops of the next 2 stitches. So one is blue and the other one will be white, like that. I hope you can see that. These are the 2 stitch markers in the back loop of the next 2 stitches. And in the front 2 stitches, we are going to be making our wing. And we'll be using the light blue yarn. So here it goes. In the first front loop, we're going to be doing a slip stitch, a half double crochet stitch, and a double crochet stitch. So we're going to do slip stitch, half double crochet, and a double crochet. That's the first part of the wing. And now in the second front loop, we're going to be doing that in reverse. So we'll be doing a double crochet, half double crochet, and a slip stitch. So double crochet, half double crochet, and a slip stitch. But before you finish a slip stitch, instead of pulling through with the light blue yarn, we're going to be pulling through with the white yarn. So that's why this part is a little complicated, because so many colors changes. So like that. And you can cut off the blue yarn here, the light blue yarn. And just make sure everything is like really tight. Now we're gonna start the next part by doing a single crochet increase in the first white stitch here. So 1 and 2. You can just pull all the yarns. And then across, we are going to be doing 7 single crochets. So 1, 2, and then we're going to do single crochet here, 3. This one might be a bit like harder to go through because we switched the colors, but just go through the white part. That was 4, and then 5, 6, 7. And then we are going to be doing single crochet increase in the last white stitch here. 1 and then 2, but instead of finishing it with the white yarn, you're gonna cut it off. You're gonna finish with this light blue, like this. Alright, so many color changes. And once again, you can put 2 stitch markers in the next 2 stitches. I won't do that, but if you need to, feel free to do that. And again, we're gonna make the wing. So in the front loop, we will do a slip stitch, a half double crochet, and then a double crochet. And again in reverse in the next stitch. So double crochet in the front loop only, half double crochet, and then a slip stitch. But again, cut off the light blue yarn, and then we will continue with the dark blue. Finish off this slip stitch with the dark blue. Perfect. And then we will finish off this row finally with 5 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we're gonna do one last color switch and go back to the blue yarn because we'll be making the rest of the body with the light blue. And that is finally the end of row 7. I hope it was clear enough. If you need any clarifications, just write a comment below. That is the end of row 7, and we'll continue with row 8. Now for row 8, it's pretty easy because we're just doing a single crochet all around, but we have to make sure that we know where to put the single crochets. So we're gonna first do 7 single crochets into the dark blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now we're at the wing. And remember we put the 2 stitch markers here? Well, that is where we're going to be putting our next 2 single crochets. So it'll be in the back loop of the previous row. So we're going to remove the stitch marker and then do a single crochet. 1 single crochet, and then in the next space, do your second single crochet. And now we'll continue along the front with, I believe it'll be 11 single crochets. Yeah. So we're gonna go into the 2 stitches of the increase of the previous row. 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And we'll again go into the back loops of the previous row and do 2 single crochets. 1 and 2. And we'll finish off this row by doing 5 more single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the end of row 8. Okay, row 9 is super easy because we're just doing single crochets all the way across, and we'll be having 27 stitches at the end. Okay, and that was the end of row 9. For row 10, we're going to be doing a few increases. First, we're going to do 1 single crochet and then a single crochet increase. So 2 stitches in the next stitch. So 1 and 2. And we're going to do 8 single crochets. And then increase. We're going to do another 8 single crochets. Then increase one last time. We're going to finish the row by doing 7 single crochets. And at the end of it, we will have 30 stitches. For row 11, we are going to be doing single crochets all the way across. And at this point, I would definitely start embroidering the face. There's a few things you can do. First of all, I would use either the yellow yarn or the mustard yarn. For this, I think I'll use the yellow yarn because I think it pairs better with the blue. But here it's pretty easy to see where is the best space. I like to put the mouth right in between the blue and the white. These 2 stitches right here. So we're gonna go through twice. 1 and 2. And I like to make sure it's clear that it's 2 lines, so it looks like little beads. That. Tie it on the inside. And then for the eyes, I just go 1 stitch out from the beak. Again, I'm using 12mm eyes. And then there's one final step that can really elevate your penguin and make it look super neat. So as you can see over here, there's a little bit of blue space, and it's kind of inevitable with the color changes, but I essentially use the leftover white yarn and just go over the blue parts. So there's no perfect way to do it, but I like to go through here and go in maybe like a couple times. And honestly, you don't have to do this. Most people won't really care, especially if you're selling them. But I have had some customers who wanted me to fill in this space, which is why I kind of discovered this way. There you go. You can go in a couple times and it looks brand new. And you could also weave in this part because it's not 100% even. Maybe I'll take some. So it is nice to leave a longer tail for the white. And then if you didn't leave a long tail, just take another piece of white yarn and you can do it that way. Just go through here. So we can start stuffing a little bit now, or we can wait until the next row, which is a decrease row. For this row of decreases, we're going to do 3 single crochets and then decrease, and do that all the way across. And I like to use the invisible decrease method, so I'll do 3 single crochets. And for decrease method, I pull up the front loops of the next 2 stitches onto my hook, wrap around, and create my decrease. Let's do that all the way across. So here at the end of this row, I definitely start stuffing. Okay, so for this next row, we are going to be using our yellow yarn to make our little feet. And like the chick in part 1, we're going to be using the bobble stitch. And I had to make some adjustments to the decrease to make sure that the decreases were, the feet were in the right position. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 2 single crochet decreases. So 1 and 2. After that, we're going to do a single crochet and then a decrease. And again, a single crochet and then decrease. Now we're going to take our yellow yarn and we're going to make the feet with a bobble stitch. If you haven't done it before, you're trying to do pretend like you're doing double crochets, but before finishing the double crochet you start the next double crochet. So essentially you take your yellow yarn, wrap it around once, insert into the stitch, pull through a loop, wrap around, pull through 2 loops, and instead of wrapping around and pulling through the 2 loops, which would make a double crochet, you essentially repeat the steps of a double crochet again. So wrap around, insert your hook, wrap around, pull through, wrap around, pull through 2 loops again, and then we're going to do that one more time. So wrap around your yarn, insert into the same space, wrap around, pull through 2 loops, and then we're going to switch back to our blue yarn, and then we're going to pull through all 4 loops on the hook like that. So you've created your first little foot. And then we're going to continue by doing a single crochet and then a decrease, another single crochet, a decrease, and then one more single crochet. It's a little bit different from the chick. And then we're gonna go back using our yellow yarn and we're gonna do the bobble stitch again. So wrap around and do that 3 times. And once you have 4 loops, you can cut off the yellow yarn and then pull through with the blue. And here we're gonna continue on with a decrease. Single crochet and you'll have your two little feet in the front. And that is the end of row, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 13. Now we're going to be going into our final row, 14, and you can continue to stuff the chick as you do this row, but very easily we're going to be doing decreases all the way around, and we'll be ending with 8 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now we can leave a long tail for finishing the ends, and keep stuffing until you feel like it's plump enough, because you want it to be really chubby and squishy. When you feel like it's stuffed enough, you can take a tapestry needle, and then how I like to finish the ends is I go through the front loops of each of the stitches and from out to in, and just pull tightly like this. And at the end, just go through a few stitches, make a loop, and put the yarn through the loop, and then just pull it away and cut off the end. And that is your completed little penguin. Now I'm going to show you how to make the Santa hat. Now I'll be showing you how to make the Santa hat, and you'll need your white yarn and the red yarn. And we're going to be starting out with our white. So again, we're going to be making a slip knot and using our number 8 hook or 5mm hook. What we're going to do is we're going to do chain 2. And I again recommend a stitch marker so you can keep track of the stitches for this part of even though we're going to be doing not continuous rounds, we're going to be doing a slip stitch and chain to connect each round. But in the beginning, I like to use a stitch marker so that I can see where my stitches are. So we're going to do 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now we're going to go back into the first stitch and do a slip stitch and chain 1. Now for row 2, we're going to do single crochet increase for a total of 6 stitches. So in the same stitch where you did the slip stitch, we're going to do a single crochet. In the next stitch, you're going to do an increase. Again, repeat single crochet and increase. We should have 6 stitches. We're going to again connect with a slip stitch and chain. Now for row 3, we're going to be doing a single crochet, decrease, single crochet, decrease. And that is going to bring us to 4 stitches. So single crochet, decrease. another single crochet and decrease. But before finishing the decrease, we're gonna be going in with our red yarn and finishing off the stitch. And here you can cut off the white yarn. So here we did like the little bauble of the Santa hat. We're going to continue with the rest of the hat in red. So we're going to use the red and we're going to go back to the beginning, and in the front loop only we're going to connect with the slip stitch and chain. Alright, for row 4 we're going to be going around doing increases all around. So we're going to have 8 stitches in the end. So the front loop only, we're going to do increase and then another increase, third increase, and the fourth increase. And again, we're going to connect with the slip stitch and chain. And from now on, we're going to always do the slip stitch and chain to connect, so I won't explain it further. Next, we're going to do 8 single crochets all the way around. And then now for row 6, we're going to do single crochet increase all the way around. And we will end up with 12 stitches. Single crochet increase, single crochet increase. Alright, and now we're gonna do single crochets all the way around. There'll be 12 stitches. Next, we're going to do 2 single crochets and then increase all the way around for a total of 16 stitches. We're gonna go single crochets all the way around again, and there'll be 16 stitches. And now for the next row, you might have guessed it, but we're going to do 3 single crochets and an increase. And we're going to have 20 stitches at the end. Alright, for the next row, it's going to be a little bit different, but we're going to be doing single crochet, increase, 3 single crochets, single crochet, increase, 3 single crochets, and we're going to do that all the way around, and we'll end up with 24 stitches. So So single crochet, then an increase, and then 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. Again, single crochet, increase, 3 single crochets. We'll have 24 stitches, and I just did that to stagger the increases so they're not right on top of each other. Now after connecting the stitch, the rows, we're gonna do 5 single crochets and then an increase. We're gonna do that all the way around, and it'll be 28 stitches in the end. Alright, and now the last row we're going to do in red is single crochets all the way around, so 28 single crochets, and then at the end, before we finish the last single crochet, we're going to switch to the white yarn. I'll show you what I mean. Now we're gonna only use the front loop for the connecting as well. So do the slip stitch and chain. Now going all the way around, we're gonna make the rim, and in the front loops, oh also I recommend, this was my mistake, I recommend cutting the red yarn a bit longer because we're gonna use it to connect the hat like this. But it's okay, you can always cut off another piece of red yarn. But anyways, for the rim, we're gonna, in the same stitch where you did the slip stitch, in the front loop only, do a single crochet and then single crochet increase. And we're gonna alternate that all the way across. Single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase. Do that all the way till the end. Okay, you can cut off the yarn and then weave in the ends. I like to use my hook, go into the first stitch, pull the yarn through to the front, turn, and then in the back loop of the last stitch, pull it back. Then kind of makes like a seamless edge. Okay, so this is the completed Santa hat, but we're not done yet because I don't think it looks that good like this, but if you like it like this, it's totally fine. But I like to fold it over to give it that, like, you know, more realistic type of look. And what we're gonna do is either use the red yarn that was left over or cut off another, maybe I'd say like 15 to 20 centimeters of red yarn. Thread it onto your tapestry needle. And then we're gonna go from where, so this is the back, which is where we did all the connecting slip stitch and chains, and we're gonna fold it down. And I like to fold it so that the space between the white and the red is here, like 2 rows up from the bottom of the red, if that makes sense. But again, you can adjust it to however you like. And what I'm going to do with this yarn is I'm just going to thread it a few times through the top bobble of the hat and the second to last red row. Like that. I think that looks good to me. And then what you can do is just tie it on the inside and weave in the ends. I use this larger needle for weaving in the end. We're almost done. I'm so happy. And thank you for your patience in this tutorial. I hope it was helpful. Yeah, now just weave in all the ends however you see fit. I'm not the best at weaving in ends, so you don't have to watch me do it. And there is our completed Santa hat. I think it's adorable. Look! Oh my gosh, so cute. So cute. Love it. Now that was the end of part 2 of this tutorial video for this adorable penguin and Santa hat. Thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't already, make sure to check out part 1 of this video series where I teach you how to make this chick with a Christmas tree hat, especially if you want to interchange it and have the penguin with the Christmas tree or the chick with the Santa hat. Make sure to watch both parts, and make sure also to like, comment, and subscribe because my channel is still a baby channel. We did recently get monetized, which is amazing, but I'd love to continue growing the channel and being able to make more videos for you all. So any support you can give would be so appreciated. Thank you so much and happy holidays!